In this alternate future, cities have been abandoned due to war and environmental devastation. A totalitarian military dictatorship called the regime now rules, taking every person under 18 from their families and sending them to harsh military academies for brutal training and indoctrination. In the forest, Weiss runs around and spots a bird in a tree. She almost uses her slingshot, but instead stretches her hand and whispers something in an indigenous language, letting the bird go free. Her mother, Niska, asks why she didn't shoot, and Weiss replies she was listening to it. As they walk, Weiss gets distracted and ends up stepping into a bear trap. Niska quickly removes the trap, bandages her daughter's wound, and helps her walk home. Their home turns out to be an abandoned vehicle that they've converted into a shelter. That night, Niska grows worried as Weiss's wound keeps bleeding. She hears a suspicious noise and looks out the window, spotting a drone coming closer. Niska tells Weiss to stay quiet, then sneaks outside with her gun and shoots down the drone, firing several times to make sure it's destroyed. Knowing more drones will come, Niska packs their things, sets their home on fire, and flees with Weiss. They cross the woods. Weiss complains about the pain in her leg, but Niska insists on moving quickly to avoid danger. When they reach the river, they find their boat and paddle until morning, finally reaching a city ravaged by war. Here, Niska warns Weiss that nobody can see her face, so she ties a bandana around it and keeps her hood up. Sneaking around the city, they hear loudspeaker broadcasts that remind everyone concealing minors is illegal, and the regime has now lowered the intake age to 4. As Niska and Weiss prepare to enter an abandoned house, a neighbor spots them and realizes Weiss is a child. Niska, alarmed, readies her knife, but the neighbor assures her he means no harm and reveals he's hiding his own son, Trey. Later that night, while Niska sleeps, Weiss sneaks out and finds Trey in his garden, where he shows her an old fallen drone he says has been there for ages. Weiss hears a faint sound and thinks the drone is still active. Suddenly, the drone springs to life, but Niska arrives just in time to smash and disable it. She grabs Weiss and rushes them inside. Soon after, officers known as Jingos arrive, attempting to seize Trey. He and his father insist Trey is 18, but the Jingos scan his wrist and reveal he's only 15. Trey is taken away by the Jingos, and his father is killed trying to protect him. Sometime later, Niska and Weiss find themselves at a crowded street market in the slums. Guards are stationed here and there, so they must move cautiously. Large screens plastered on the walls blare out regime propaganda, and Niska feels a pang of sadness seeing her old friend Pierre promoting it. Suddenly, a swarm of drones flies overhead, dropping food rations onto the street. The crowd surges forward, snatching up what they can, but Niska keeps hidden amidst the chaos. Using the distraction, she takes Weiss to her old friend Roberta's house. Roberta greets Niska with a hug, reminiscing about Weiss's childhood memories, and lets Weiss feed her cat to distract her. In private, Niska confides to Roberta that Weiss desperately needs medicine due to her infected wound. Roberta regrets she can't help, explaining that the clinics are now heavily patrolled by Jingos. Niska also brings up Pierre, revealing he's actually Roberta's son. Roberta shows Niska a picture from Pierre's academy graduation, suggesting Niska could send Weiss there for citizenship and a better life. But Niska refuses, knowing it would mean permanent separation from her daughter. The next morning, Niska is jolted awake by the sound of Jingo cars arriving at the market. Officers begin meticulously checking everyone, and Niska grows anxious as Weiss's health worsens. Roberta points out that the regime, for all its cruelty, could at least save Weiss's life. In desperation, Niska tells Weiss that she'll get her medicine. She goes outside, alerts the officers that a minor is hidden in the house, then flees as they take Weiss to the military academy. Alone in a private spot, Niska breaks down, devastated. 10 months later, Niska's life has declined. She lives in a rundown apartment, but has made friends with some of the neighbors. Whenever she receives food rations, she selflessly distributes them to others in need. Niska spends her days working at the market, and is often visited by her new friend Randy, who hints he's found a way to help them escape and asks her to meet him soon. After work, Niska heads to the fence outside the academy, where the families of abducted children have built a memorial. She cries for Weiss and adds her favorite toy to the growing tribute. Upon returning home, Niska discovers Jingos searching her building for terrorists who attacked the academy. Meanwhile, Weiss is now healthier in the academy, adapting to the harsh routines and training with the other kids. In a week, selection day will decide which cadets are sent to Emerson State. When it's time for the pledge, Weiss refuses to repeat the words. Alone in her dorm, she secretly adds details to a hidden map of the academy. One night, she overhears another girl being taken away and anxiously notices she never returns. Later, Niska meets Randy at a bar, where he says he's found someone who can reprogram their IDs and secure citizenship. Niska hesitates, as living in Emerson means joining the privileged elite, but Randy convinces her it's the only way to reunite with her daughter. That afternoon, Niska falls asleep at the Academy Memorial and wakes to see a wild horse nearby. She manages to calm it and guide it back to others, but then a voice calls out. She finds Charlie with a laptop, sending instructions over a microphone. Soon, two adults sneak out from the academy with children, and Niska, believing it's a kidnapping, attacks, only to be subdued and have her head covered. After hours, the captors remove the bag and explain Niska is now among the Cree, indigenous people who have been rescuing their children from the academy. Niska demonstrates she knows some Cree language, impressing Ida, the leader, and Charlie runs a background check to confirm her identity. Niska joins their bonfire, where Charlie shares the group's story. The elder recalls a prophecy about a guardian from the north, believing Niska might be that figure. They celebrate with music and food, and Niska is moved to tears seeing a tent filled with rescued children. Ida expresses admiration for how Niska hid Weiss for so long and welcomes her. By morning, Niska wants to leave, but the Cree warn her that Weiss is in danger. The academy only pretends to educate children, but actually turns them into loyal regime puppets. The Cree offer to rescue Weiss if Niska will lead all the children to a safe zone up north, but she's skeptical, thinking the place is a myth, and protests that such a journey would take 3 weeks with dangers from drones. Leo urges her to act soon, as Emerson's indoctrination is irreversible. Niska, frustrated, says the Jingos provide food, medicine, and education, and flees. Leo confides to Ida that he doubts Niska is the guardian, but Ida remains hopeful. Back at the academy, Weiss witnesses the traumatized return of the missing girl and tries to communicate with a bird using the Cree language, watching it fly away. That night, Weiss picks the lock on her room while everyone sleeps and tries to escape, but sets off an alarm and is promptly recaptured and locked in a cell. The next morning, Niska returns to her building and is heartbroken to find her favorite neighbor dead, with more bodies throughout the area. Randy finds her, shields her face, and explains that a deadly virus is spreading and borders will be closing by nightfall. They need to collect their new IDs and escape quickly. At the market, loudspeakers announce mandatory evacuation, urging everyone to head to the departure point. They find Roberta, whose house has been searched by regime forces. She's convinced the government has tainted the food rations. Randy tells Niska they can get Roberta to a shelter, but she won't be able to cross the border with them. As they attempt to cross the city, a guard finds them and forces them to come along. They're handcuffed, checked for the virus, and loaded onto a bus. Randy has a smoke bomb and tells Niska to wait for his signal to escape out the back. Niska insists Roberta comes with them. Just then, Roberta sees that one of the Jingo officers is Pierre, her son, and tries to approach him, but is threatened at gunpoint and sent back. Randy throws the smoke bomb and makes a run for the back, but Roberta tries to reach Pierre at the front of the bus. When a Jingo tries to block her, Niska attacks and chokes him using her handcuffs. A second Jingo is about to shoot, but Randy returns and stabs him. With both guards dead, Niska and Randy grab a gun and dash outside. Roberta approaches Pierre, who stands with his firearm pointed, asking her to step back, confused. She tries to reconnect, but Pierre responds coldly, using political jargon, and then shoots her dead. As Randy tries to help, another Jingo shoots him in the hand. Suddenly, the Jingos begin dropping dead as Leo and Simon arrive to rescue Niska and Randy. They say traditional words to bid farewell to Roberta, and Niska realizes Leo was right about the regime's brainwashing techniques. She bandages Randy and apologizes for leaving him before they head out together. During the car ride, Niska observes that they're breezing through checkpoints. Leo reveals he has a password thanks to his diplomat father and knew about the government's virus plan. Emerson orchestrated the outbreak, aiming to start a war and use children as soldiers. Simone shares the elder's prophecy of giant mosquitoes swarming and a northern stranger saving them. Meanwhile, Weiss is released from the cell and sent back to her room. An instructor belittles her heritage, calls her Elizabeth instead of her real name, and shows her a video of Niska telling the regime where to find her, leaving Weiss shattered. During weapon training, Weiss breaks the Academy's assembly record, but is called a cheater and insulted. She reacts violently, savagely beating her accuser. The instructor lets it continue, and afterward, asks if anyone will challenge Weiss. No one does. The instructor asks Weiss if she's ready to fight for the regime. Weiss answers yes, and learns she'll be sent to Emerson tomorrow. For the first time, Weiss recites the pledge with her classmates. At the CRA camp, Niska arrives at a private council meeting, desperate to start a rescue mission. Ida explains that the Jingos have constructed a new mining road and are approaching the camp. They must evacuate tonight. Niska demands Weiss be rescued first, and after an elder's speech about unity, the council agrees. That night, Charlie guides Niska and Leo via earpiece as they break into the academy through the sewers. They wait for a guard to leave before Leo hacks the computer system, allowing Charlie to locate the girls and unlock all the doors. Niska finds Weiss, who accuses her of abandonment. Niska breaks down and apologizes. They hug and reconcile. The guard returns and discovers the hack, activating the alarm. Jingo officers begin searching, forcing Leo to kill two in defense. Charlie sees more soldiers moving in and warns that the Cree camp has been found, signaling an imminent attack. Niska wants to leave immediately with Weiss, but Weiss senses something is coming. Charlie notices something alarming on the monitors and urges everyone to escape immediately. Leo tells Niska to focus on rescuing the kids, volunteering to distract the incoming Jingos. After saying a traditional prayer, Leo rushes into the corridor to face a drone, but Niska arrives first and shoots it down. Acting quickly, Niska instructs Weiss to gather all the children while Charlie begins locking doors via the security system to delay the guards. Weiss remembers the map she's been secretly drawing and leads everyone toward a hidden exit. Back at the Cree camp, people pack and get ready as soldiers approach. Ida entrusts Simon with leading the group and gives an encouraging speech before preparing to wait for Niska and the rescued children. As the camp braces for confrontation, soldiers demand they surrender and start throwing gas bombs, which the warriors toss back. Suddenly, a truck carrying Niska, Weiss, and the other kids arrives. Surprisingly, the soldiers let them through the blockade. Leo realizes it's a trap. Weiss suddenly hears a strange and overwhelming noise that only she seems to notice. The sky fills with drones, mirroring the prophecy from the Elder. Niska tries to make Weiss stay in the truck for safety, but Weiss runs out, bravely facing the soldiers. She raises her hand and repeats the same word she once spoke to the birds, magically controlling the drones. Charlie realizes Weiss really is the prophesied guardian, and the drones aim their weapons at the soldiers, forcing their retreat. As the Cree celebrate their survival, a hidden soldier in the tall grass takes aim at Weiss. Niska leaps between them, taking the bullet and shielding her daughter. A defender quickly dispatches the soldier as everyone rushes to care for Niska, who is now gravely wounded. Wrapped in a blanket, Niska is comforted by Weiss as the drones form a protective circle above them, honoring her in her final moments.